Hello, everybody. I'm Lora Fleming. I'm a physician and epidemiologist, and it is a pleasure to be here. Thank you. I want to convince you that our health is totally dependent on the health of the ocean. So how many people can tell me what that blue globe is? Anybody? The Pacific Ocean. And it illustrates for me something that I always start my talks with, which is what some of you may know already, 70% of the world is covered by water, and most of that water is the ocean. 70% of our oxygen comes from the ocean. Our climate regulation is highly dependent on the ocean. In fact, as many of you know in the audience, the ocean is taking the hit for the fact that we have a lot of CO2 and a lot of heat, and it's why we actually have a relatively stable situation right now. The majority of biodiversity on the Earth is in the ocean. Much of it is unexplored. We also know that pollution, unfortunately, mostly from us and mostly from land, is spread all over the world because the ocean covers 70% of the Earth. We also know, and I love this NOAA infographic, it kind of summarizes it all for me, that the ocean is incredibly important in terms of our economics and also in terms of things like shipping, transport, culture, history. For example, did you know that most of our medical supplies are shipped to us from other countries? Something that I think we were very aware of during the pandemic. The Ocean Panel, which is 19 countries which come together to try and do large ocean-related interventions, had an Oceans and Human Health report this past year. And they focus on a couple of areas. The first area was the fact that there are medicines and biotechnology that come from the ocean. For example, chemotherapy drugs and even alternatives to plastic, alternatives to food, and they can be done in a sustainable way. Another area they focused on was seafood. 3 billion people, seafood is their primary protein source. And for many of us, if we can get access to healthy seafood, it will prevent many chronic diseases. And last but not least, they focused on health and well-being from the ocean, interacting with blue spaces. And I don't have to tell you that because you live next to Lake Champlain, and it also is true for that. Interacting with blue spaces is good for our health and well-being, and I can tell you all the different ways we think that's true. So I'm just going to end with one of my favorite quotes by Arthur C. Clarke. How inappropriate to call this planet Earth when it is clearly ocean.